Hey Yogi, welcome to class. If you're new here, I'm Ree, welcome, and if you are returning, welcome back. It is sick to have you back with me on the channel. No Bassets today. They are knocking around, but they have decided they don't want to be part of the part of the action. So you've just got me today. Before we jump into the practice, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do. It just helps me to grow in the enormous world of YouTube. If you enjoy the practice, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. And yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know how this one landed for you. This one's going to be quite playful. We're going to move around in a few different directions. So all you need is an open mind and somewhere to practice. However, I also am sitting on a blanket. It might just feel nice at the beginning to have a blanket, and we may use it maybe at some point, but you know, it's not going to be essential. So if you don't have one, no sweat, we'll just groove along without it. So come to sitting cross-legged in Sukhasana, and just sit with either leg in front for now. If you've got the blanket, feel free to sit on it, just because it might just feel nice to elevate the hips a little. Let the hands just fall onto the thighs wherever they're going to fall and close down the eyes if that feels good. And I always say this, but if that doesn't feel good, if that's not something that appeals to you, that's fair. But just look down, maybe into the cheeks or just down into kind of the seat area, just so that there's no visual external distraction. There's obviously always going to be often lots of distractions when we come onto our mat. So for now, let's try to take away the visual. Let's try to move inward. So set yourself up. Allow your head to just gently kind of come to neutral. And by that I mean just try and bring the jaw and the chin into neutral. The hands are going to go wherever fits nicely in your personal geometry. Sit up nice and tall, up and out of the sit bones. Drop the shoulder blades down the back, and then just be. Just arrive. Blink the eyes open if they're closed, and just raise the gaze. And from here, just change the cross of the legs. So we all have that normal, for want of a better phrase, way of crossing our legs. And it's different for everyone, but everyone has like that leg that goes in front first. Mine is always left leg in front first. It feels really weird to not be. So go to your goofy side or your weird side, and then we'll just repeat the process. So hands wherever they land, sit up tall. Close the eyes if you want to, or just look down. And then let's take 3 breaths. All you're doing in these breaths is just trying to make the exhale slightly longer than the inhale. So if you need a count to help with that, then do so. Nice. Blink the eyes open if they were closed. Take the hands behind you, release the legs, take them into kind of like a bear sit. So have your fingertips behind you. You can be on the fingertips to allow you to sit up and out. Again, if you've got the blanket, it's going to help you, but we want to keep the low back long here. So try and lift up and out of kind of your sit bones. And then take the knees wide, feet wide, just so we come into a little bit of opening through the hips, and then we're just going to let the hips move from side to side. We're not being super specific here. This isn't like true mobility focus. We're just trying to get a little bit of juice into the hips, if you like, just trying to wake them up. So let's go from side to side. Let both legs just trail one another, so just let them come across. Keep pressing your fingertips into the back of you, or into the ground, I should say, behind you, so that you can really sit up nice and tall. Try not to have the tailbone tucked and kind of have the low back flexing. We want to keep length in the low back. Nice. On your next one, just come back to center. And from here, we'll come onto all fours. So if you did have your blanket, feel free now to just pop that off to the side. As I say, we may use it later. Who knows? Coming onto all fours, we're just going to warm up the wrists and the forearms here. So circling everything, circling the shoulders over the hands. Gripping the mat with the fingers, toes are tucked or untucked. As always, that's your personal preference. My preference is to tuck them so that I always get into the feet a little bit at the same time that we're warming up the hands, but you could untuck them, that's your call. Feel your weight just move around both hands. Feel the weight be kind of unequal as it moves more over into one hand, and just kind of notice that sweet spot in the middle where you're kind of moving through the center line and the weight seems pretty even. Nice. From here, come to neutral. We'll just cat-cow this out. So flip the palms back for this one, just to lock the shoulders in a little. Inhale, lift the belly. Drop the belly, lift the chest. Come into your cow pose. Exhale, push through to cat. Really try and curl through the spine here, chin to chest. Inhale, ripple through. Exhale. Do a few more on your own, at your own sort of breath rate, your own cycle of breath count. You could go faster or slower than me, of course, but just move at your own pace. Trying to move through the spine, just wake it up. Finish up the round that you are on. And come back to tabletop with the hands facing to the top of the mat. From here, we'll tuck the toes, lift the hips and push back into downward facing dog. No messing around with this one. Feel free to just pedal out the feet a little bit here, just to get into the legs a little bit, into the feet. Squeeze the inner armpits together. It's a really weird thing to say, but it just always allows me to feel like I've got a bit more space through the shoulders. And then come to a bit of stillness in your Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Feel free to have a soft or a generous bend in the knees here. Nice. From here, bend the knees, push off the toes as you inhale, ripple forward, come into high plank pose. Look long. Exhale, push back. Downward facing dog. Work through the knees here as well. Inhale, lift heels, bend knees, push off the feet, ripple through the spine just like we were in cat-cow, roll into plank. And then exhale, push back. Downward facing dog. Nice. From here, your right leg will go high, 3-leg dog. And then just bend the knee and open up the hip here and just take a few hip circles. Again, you're not being specific. You're just trying to get a little bit of action into the hip joint. Nice. And then from here, lift the leg up high, flex the toes, open up the hip to the right. So as if you were cranking the toes clockwise. Then from here, look long, and then see if you can just come high onto the left toes and swing. You may need to bend that right knee at some point, but see if you can take the right foot to the outside of the right hand. From here, bend the right knee, drop the left heel down. You're kind of setting up for Parsvakonasana. So keep your right hand down and then open up to the left. Seek the top hand up towards the ceiling. You can look up to it or down. It's your call. Then from here, as you exhale, plant the left hand, swivel onto the left outer blade of left foot, and your toes are all going to swing towards the right, setting up for high horizon lunge. Reach the right arm up to the sky this time. Scoop that left hip under you. Nice. Exhale. Back to that Parsvakonasana. So feet swivel back to where you got them from. Left heel down. Lift the left arm up. Nice. Take an inhale where you are. Exhale, left hand to the mat. Right foot steps back, downward facing dog. Left leg will go up, 3-leg dog. Then bend the left knee and just take those hip circles. So you're just circling the hip, circling the femur, the thigh bone, just around that socket. Just trying to get into it a little bit. And then straighten through that left leg, flex the left toes. This time you're opening anti-clockwise so that you can open that left hip out towards the left side. Come high onto the ball of the right toes, look long, and see if you can suck the left thigh bone in as you come forward. Keep the leg straight for as long as it can. Left foot outside left hand. Plant the left foot, bend the left knee, drop the back heel down, and then Parsvakonasana on this side. Don't worry that your stance is going to be a bit different. We're not looking for perfection. Exhale. Right hand to the mat. All 10 toes are going to swivel to face the left this time. Come onto the outer blade of the right foot. High horizon lunge. Inhale here. Exhale, left hand down, swivel all 10 toes back towards the top of the mat. Plant the left hand, drop the right heel, find Parsvakonasana again. Exhale, right hand down, step left foot back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Lift heels, bend knees, push off the toes, roll into high plank, and then exhale, take the push up, drop knees, drop forearms, pull through into that upward facing dog and wave it back. Downward facing dog. Nice stuff. Let's do that again. Right leg will go up. Bend the knee, open the hip, just a couple of circles here. Then straighten through that right leg, really flex through the right toes. Pull the right toes back towards the shin. Open up clockwise. Then look long, high onto the ball of the left toes. How much can you keep everything straight? Arms and the right leg until eventually right foot plants. Bend the right knee, drop the left heel down. Inhale, Parsvakonasana. Exhale, left hand plants, all 10 toes to the right, high horizon. Inhale here. Exhale, back to Parsvakonasana. So you've got to be swivelly on the toes, on your feet. And then left hand to the mat. Step right foot back to meet left down dog. Left leg will go up, bend that knee, open the hip, take a couple of circles. I'm not here for long. And then straighten the left leg. This time you're opening the left foot towards the left, so anti-clockwise. High onto the right toes, look long, and then how much can you keep everything straight so that left foot comes up outside left hand. Plant it, bend the left knee, drop the right heel, inhale to that Parsvakonasana side angle. Exhale, right hand down, swivel on everything, all 10 toes face the left. High horizon lunge. Exhale, back to Parsvakonasana. You've got to be light on the feet here. Keep swiveling. Inhale where you are. Exhale, right hand down. Left foot goes gently back. Down dog. Inhale, push off the toes, ripple forward. Look long. Exhale. Vinyasa. At any point in the vinyasas, if you want to come down onto the knees so that you can feel more stable, please do that. Should have said that first. Then from here, take your feet as wide as your mat. Walk your hands back to your feet. And then turn the heels in, toes out, as much as you need to here to come into a low yogi squat. So if your heels lift when you're in the squat, that's another great use for the blanket. So take the blanket on whatever height you need and just pop the blanket under the heels. Then come into it. So you can make the blanket super thick if your heels are very high. If your heels just need a little bit of help, you can have it as like a little slither. So, you know, we're going to be here for a little bit. So set yourself up so that it will work for you. And you don't need to then be on the tips of your toes all the time, because that can be just an added challenge that we're not looking for right now. So set yourself up in Malasana, low yogi squat. Feel free to have a little bit of a sway side to side here. And then we're going to move in and out of this into a variation of Uttanasana. And for this, again, we need to be swiveling. Obviously, I had no idea this was going to happen, but the theme for today is going to be the swivel. So we're going to kick the heels out as we come to Uttanasana and kick them back in for Malasana. We're going to move through this a few times just to get into the low body. So from here, inhale, open the arms, look up. Exhale, fold, swivel, kick the heels out. Kind of into a wide-ish Uttanasana. Then swivel back in, inhale, lift up, open the arms, look up, exhale. We're going to do this a few times. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. We're just trying to build a little bit of something in the hips, as well as just waking up the hamstrings. Keep going at your own breath cadence. Now you've got the swivel down, I'm sure you have. Now you've got the movement set in. Move at your own pace. So you could speed up, you could slow down, but try not to linger anywhere. Try to keep equal space and time in each place. Nice. Come all the way down to Malasana from here, low yogi squat. Nice. From here, we're going to do a little bit of movement in and out of grasshopper. So for this, you're going to lift your hips a little bit higher, plant your right hand, swing your right leg behind your left leg. See if you can catch it, and then bend the left knee, bend the right elbow so you can come into baby grasshopper. And then push off the left foot, swing the right foot back to Malasana. Lift up. Left hand plants, left leg swings behind the right, baby grasshopper, and then swing it back. We're going to do that one more each side. So right hand down, swing right leg behind left, come low, push off everything, don't get stuck, and then switch sides. Left hand down, left leg behind right, and then swing it back. Nice. Come back to Malasana. Hopefully, I certainly can. Hopefully you can feel that in the hips. Fold over, turn the heels to kick them out and just fold here. Let your head hang heavy. And then walk your hands all the way back to the top of the mat. Downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. We're going to take 3 awakening A's, but we're going to take, let's go for an 8 count to the top of the mat. So if you are not jumping to the top of the mat, then I want you to be really slow. Keep the right knee tucked into the chest, right foot outside of right hand, and then really slowly left knee comes into the chest, left foot outside of left hand. And I want that to be really mindful and work to really get the hip closed. So get in the whichever thigh you're moving right into the chest. It's just going to help so much with some of the other stuff that we're going to do. So that's your first option. If you are wanting to jump, maybe take a couple of hops, or you're just going to go for the jump and hold. So set yourself up, look long, lift heels, bend knees, and let's go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Both feet outside of hands in 1. Nice. Come to active squat. Exhale to stand. Squeeze the glutes. Inhale, reach up, look up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, pull the hands down through the middle. Come back into active squat. Inhale, hands to the mat. You can step back or you can jump back and take your vinyasa. Downward facing dog. Nice. Let's go again. So look long, lift heels, bend knees, step or jump feet outside of hands in 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Feet land outside of hands on 1. Inhale to active squat. Exhale to stand. Inhale, reach it up, look up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, pull the hands down, bend the knees, active squat. Inhale, hands to the mat, look long. Exhale, step or jump to your vinyasa. Pulling through into upward facing dog and waving back. Downward facing dog. Let's do one more of those. Hopefully you're feeling a bit springy or you're feeling very precise in the step forward. So look long, lift heels, bend knees, step or jump, feet outside of hands for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1. Feet outside hands. Inhale, active squat. Exhale to stand. Draw it in. Inhale, reach up, look up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, pull the hands down. Active squat. Inhale, hands to the mat. Look long, step or jump back. And vinyasa. Drop knees and forearms. Pull through into upward facing dog. Wave it back. Downward facing dog. Nice step. From here, right leg up, 3-leg dog. Open the hip to the right. High onto the ball of the left toes. Look forward. See if you can swing that right leg forward outside of the right hand. Bend the right knee. Plant the left heel. Inhale, Parsvakonasana. Exhale, high horizon lunge. So swivel all 10 toes to the right, reaching up through the top hand. Then from here, see if you can just drop the hips down. You're now going to turn to face the back of the mat. Bring the right knee in towards the chest. So it's a bit of a funky one. Then left arm's going to wrap around that right leg as you take a gentle twist here. So sit up nice and tall, looking back over the right shoulder, flexing through the left toes. Have a moment. Those awakening A's are always tough when we do the slow count. Nice. From here, we're going to swing back, plant our hands, and come straight into Chaturanga. So plant your hands as if you would to come into a plank, and then we'll move. So swing the hands around, come into Chaturanga, push up to plank, drop knees, drop forearms, pull through into upward facing dog, and wave back, downward facing dog. Left leg up, 3-leg dog. Open the hip, flex the left toes, open the hip to the left. High onto the ball of the right toes. And then swing. Left foot outside of left hand. Bend the left knee when it gets there. Roll onto the outer blade of the right foot. Inhale, Parsvakonasana. As you exhale, right hand will plant. Swivel all 10 toes to the left. Find high horizon on the left. And then gently see if you can just drop the heel, drop the butt. Bring your left heel towards your left butt. Then squeeze the left knee into the chest. Wrap your right arm around the left hand behind you. Flex through the right toes. Let's take that twist. Try and sit long here, up and out of the sit bones. Then from here, we're going to come back through Chaturanga again. So swing the hands down, come to Chaturanga, then push to plank. Drop knees, drop forearms, pull through into upward facing dog. And then push back. Downward facing dog. Nice job. Okay, we've got one last jump to the top of the mat here. So you can step or jump, but feet are going to go outside of hands. So lift heels, bend knees. Step or jump, feet outside of hands for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and on 1. Feet outside of hands. Come down into a Malasana. We've been here before. Hopefully the hips are feeling super alive, super, just charged. Mine certainly are. Feel like you could be buoyant here. We're going to do those left to right grasshoppers again. So from here, we'll go right side first. So lift the butt a little, left hand will plant. Left hand swings behind the right leg, and then bend the right knee deeply, bend the left elbow, baby grasshopper. Then push off, swing back. Switch side, right hand down, right leg behind the left thigh, the left calf, and then bend the elbow of the right arm. Then push up and out of it, come back. Let's do that one more on each side. So left hand down, left leg swings, grasshopper on the right. Swing it back, right hand down, right leg swings, grasshopper on the left. Swing it back to Malasana. From here, find active squat, so lift up and out of it. Exhale to stand. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, pull the hands down. Inhale, hands to the mat. Jumping back to Chaturanga this time. So jumping down, and then from here, roll over. Right leg will flip over. We're facing the back of the mat. Right foot is back into this twisted position. Left arm is going to catch that right leg, flex the left toes, look behind you. So we've done this before. We're just doing it a bit different. Then from here, swing the left hand around. We'll lift up, coming in to a variation of Wild Thing. So lift the hips high. Keep reaching through the top hand. And then slowly lower the butt down. We're going to go back into Chaturanga. Do it all on the other side. I'm just checking I've got enough space. I think I do. So flipping over, back to Chaturanga. Push off. Flip the left foot over to the left side. Plant the butt down. Right arm will squeeze the left thigh in. Left hand behind you, sit tall. Pull the right toes towards the right shin. Reaching up nice and tall here, feeling long. Then swinging the arms back around. Right hand will plant top of the mat. Left foot will plant. Inhale, push up, lift the hips. Find a variation of Kamakrasana, Wild Thing. Then slowly come back to where you started. Both sit bones to the mat. We're going to have both hands back in the Chaturanga position. Swing back through. Push up to plank. Drop knees. Drop forearms. Pull through. Upward facing dog. And then push back. Downward facing dog. Awesome stuff, yogis. From here, look long, lift heels, bend knees, and just hop to the top of your mat. Sit your butt nice and low. Beautiful. So if you had the blanket from earlier, grab it now. So for this kind of last position, really, you can make this your Shavasana. We're going to roll the blanket up. So kind of roll it long ways so it's quite long. This could obviously be a towel as well. And then take it long ways onto the mat. So it's going to go where your spine is, in that vicinity. And lie back onto it. Make sure that the bottom of the blanket goes up towards your butt. And then from here, just let the feet go wide, knees knock in. So we've been doing so much external rotation through the hips, a lot of opening. I just want us to now have everything come back to the middle a little bit. Take it the other way. If it feels nice, you could reach your arms out into a T. Let the shoulder blades just fall off your blanket. You can do this without a blanket too. You could also do this with a block instead. And just relax here. Start to slow the breath down a little. Notice how your hips are feeling. And even though this has been very much a hip focus flow, we've obviously been into the arms quite a lot, especially if you were doing the jumps. Or, taking a few hops. It's obviously quite a bit on the shoulder, so just notice how the whole body is responding. Did you get really frustrated and you're like, I can't do this cueing or all these different directions, I'm not used to moving like this? And if that came up for you, that's fine. Everything that we feel is just something that we feel. It doesn't need to be any more than that. Maybe you found a little bit of fun exploring. Maybe you got lost. Maybe you like practices where, you're driving and you're on the motorway or the highway and it's a straight line, no exits, no roundabouts to worry about, no parallel parking. But I don't think any of us like parallel parking, to be honest. Maybe, today, for once you enjoyed that we were just meandering around, coming on and off the road, pit stopping. Just let it all start to settle. Nice. From here, try and roll up into just a seat. And then I'm going to give an option to finish. You can either finish as we were, just like that, or you could come into Hero's Pose and finish in that way. So if you'd like to do that, find your way onto your shins, but still have your butt going up towards the blanket. So have your butt, your blanket just meeting your butt. So you're going to take your feet a little bit wide so that your butt can come down in between your heels. Now, straight away, if you have any knee pain, it's not worth aggravating your knee for. So I would recommend going back into the sort of reclined position, into that Shavasana. But if there's no issues with the knees in this space or with the ankles, then feel free to just lay back onto the blanket as we were. You can do anything with the arms. I love taking them up and overhead in reclined Virasana, reclined Hero's Pose. Just to give the front body a bit of a stretch. We've been kind of flexing through the hip a lot. It's nice sometimes to just kind of finish with it all going in the opposite direction from where we've been. If this feels nice, you could stay here for your whole Shavasana. If at any point it gets too intense, you can kind of modify it to suit your needs by maybe coming up onto your forearms. So putting your forearms down and sitting up onto them so that you've got less tension on the low back if that's where you're feeling it. And of course, at any point you can come out of this and just come into any final position that's going to feel nice for you. Traditional Shavasana, always welcome in these spaces, in these moments. And just let yourself melt away. If you closed your eyes at the beginning, or if you kind of just made the gaze soft, do the same here. Let's start certainly from a perspective place, just like we did at the beginning. Let's finish just like we did at the start, I should say. Keep listening to your body. If at any point the reclined Hero's Pose gets too much, and it can get too much for lots of different places. For me, the front of my foot always feels the most intense there, not my legs or my hips or my back. So at any point, teeter in and out of that pose, or just come out of it altogether and find Shavasana. As always, I'm not going to stay with you for Shavasana, but let it be your time to really unwind from the practice and to let the practice settle in, whether it was a chaotic experience or a fun, enjoyable one. They're all experiences that just make up the practice. So let that experience settle in to your physical body, maybe even your spiritual body. And this is where I will leave you. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you practice with me today on YouTube, and I hope to see you on the mat again soon. Thank you, Yogi.